Welcome back, everyone. So last year I made a video talking about games that I wanted to beat in 2021, and the plan was to do a follow-up a year later. And here we are. So today we're going to be talking about games that I want to beat in 2022 and do a follow-up and see how well I stuck to my commitments from last year. Not very well. So first up, I still have no idea how to say the name of this game. Astionax, Astyanax, Ass, Titties and Ass, who the hell cares? You know, I'm not going to say this game was hard, I just felt that it was kind of cheap at times. I feel like most of my deaths were from getting knocked into a pit, but you know, that was a common thing back then, I guess. But I have no idea why I wanted to beat this game, I just felt that I needed to, and I did. Next, we have a childhood favorite of mine, Quackshot on the Genesis. The main reason I never beat this game as a kid is because you have to beat it in one sitting. There's no saving your game or passwords or anything like that. It's not a very difficult game, but it's a lot of fun. So last up is a game that caused me a lot of grief as a kid. I can finally bury this game, move on with my life, possibly never play it again. Ghostbusters 2 on the NES. Now, is this game necessarily bad? I mean, I've played worse. No, it's not the worst game in the world, but there are so many other games that I'd rather play. So sadly, those are all the games on my list from last year that I actually beat. But I did beat some other games that weren't on that list, so let's talk about them. First up, we got Turning Point Fall of Liberty. So I did talk about this game on my last video game pickups video. I will say it's not the best first-person shooter out there. Did I have a bad time with it? Not necessarily. I will say the thing I did like about this game is it's rather short. I almost beat this game in one sitting, and that's very rare for me. But yeah, you can beat this game in like 3 to 4 hours. It's rather short, which I could imagine spending $60 for this game when it first came out. That would kind of suck. But hey, for someone like me who bought this game years later for like $5, I wasn't very butthurt about it. I still love the concept of this game, what if the Nazis won World War II? But aside from that, yeah, this game could have been so much better. Next up is a game I've talked about quite a bit on this channel, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. I don't have too much to say about this game that I haven't already said. I beat it. Let's move on. This next game I didn't even know existed until a couple years ago. I don't know how it flew under my radar. I think I had moved on to the PS3 around this time. Maybe. But this was a series of games that I loved, and I didn't even know about Gears of War Judgment. So this game is pretty much just kind of a side story from the original trilogy. I don't have too much to say about this. It plays like the other Gears of War games. It's a good time. Next up, we have a sequel to a game that I played many years ago that I absolutely loved. I've known that this game existed, but for some reason I've just had no desire to play it. I have no idea why, but I finally played and beat The Darkness 2. Now, I can't say this game was better than the first, but I still had a good time with it. It's not your typical first-person shooter, and that's what I like about it. But I do love the concept of these games. I've even started picking up the comics that these games are based off of. My biggest complaint about this game is it kind of does end on a cliffhanger, and there's been no talks of a third. The hell. Before we move on to additional games that I want to beat this year, there's a couple of digital-only games that I beat as well. First up is Katana Zero. So I've already talked about this game once, but I cannot recommend this game enough. But I had so much fun with this game, there's just something about the fast-paced action that I just absolutely loved. You'll no doubt die a lot, but it's so satisfying and so badass looking when you do everything right. Next up, we have The Angry Video Game Nerd 1 and 2. Even if you're not a fan of this series, these games are a lot of fun. There are some parts that can be frustrating, but it's not too challenging overall, and I am excited to eventually get my physical copy from Limited Run Games. So the last game that I beat in 2021 is a game called Flynn, Son of Crimson. I absolutely love this game, but I can't really explain why. It doesn't really do anything new or innovative or revolutionary, it was just a lot of fun. Not only did I beat the game, but I also maxed out my character and got all the collectibles. I never do that. I think what I liked about this game so much is it was just the right amount of challenge. I never really felt frustrated, but it also didn't feel easy. I think my only complaint would be some of the levels felt a bit too long, but aside from that, I love this game. So let's move on to some additional games that I want to beat this year. First up, Castlevania 2. So I've beat Castlevania 1, Rondo of Blood, Super Castlevania 4, and Bloodlines, so I feel like I have to beat the original trilogy. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm probably gonna use a guide. So along with that, we also gotta beat Castlevania 3. Now, I've played quite a bit of this game, but I feel like it's so much more jank than the first. I've beat Castlevania 1 so many times, but this one just infuriates me. Yeah, the first game also has some cheap deaths, but once you figure it out, it's really not that bad. I'm sure it's the same with this game, but I can't tell you how many times I have rage quit this game. Next up is another game I talked about in my recent pickups video. This is going to be my Halloween game of 2022, and that's Alan Wake. Like I said before, I played this game many years ago, but I never finished it, and recently I've wanted to go back and play it again. Another game I talked about in my recent pickups video, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. Wait a minute, I just remembered that Curse of the Moon was on my list from last year, so I did not do as bad as I thought. Since I beat the first game in 2021, it just makes sense that I beat this game in 2022. One of my favorite games on the original Xbox was Max Payne, and I have no idea why, but I've never had a desire to play the other games. But last year, I did start playing Max Payne 2. I have no idea why I had no desire to play these games, but you know what? I feel like I was missing out. I've had a great time playing this game so far, it's just more Max Payne action. But of course, there's also Max Payne 3. The only thing I really know about this game is the fact that he's addicted to painkillers, which makes perfect sense due to the fact that's basically your health in the first two games. Next up is a game called The Messenger. This is another game that I played quite a bit of, but I stopped playing for a long time. And when I went back to try to play it again, I basically forgot how to play the game. So I've pretty much decided to start over. Last up is a game that I just started playing, Kinah Bridge of Spirits. I saw someone streaming this game and I thought, man, that looks right up my alley. Like I said, I just started playing this game, so I don't have much to say about it. But I love the art style, the graphics are gorgeous. I'm playing this game on the PS4, so I can only assume it looks even better on the PS5. It's even kind of cute and adorable if you're into that kind of thing. Well, anyway guys, thanks again for watching. You know what to do, like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you again next time.